So what is your best attribute as a coach?
If there's one thing, how to galvanize players, understanding what buttons to push, how to motivate them. I think that's one of the best things Coach Jones was able to do. Blake Neal in college, Noel Thorpe, Orlando Steinauer. Aside from the X's and O's, and am I leaving anyone out? No, Mark Washington, Jason Shivers. Don't want to leave anybody out, but I think the one of the best attributes about those guys is they were able to galvanize a group of men to go after a common goal. And I think that's one thing I did well as a player in terms of being able to get my DBs, no matter where you were from, to sit down and have conversations, tough conversations, and be real with one another. And I think my ability to galvanize a group of men and just paint them a picture that they can believe in, and then we can go out there and do what we need to do.
Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go. All right. Thanks to everybody for checking out this podcast. The best form of advertising is word of mouth. We're sharing it on social media, so please like and share this. Tell everybody, this is your source for local sports in and around Saskatchewan, but we stretch our horizons past the Saskatchewan border, especially when it comes to football, CFL football, but hockey, curling, everything like that too. Pros, amateurs, we talk about it all here. If you're just new, I'm a 30-year media vet. I started this podcast after being punted from mainstream media because, quite honestly, people don't like when people call it like they see it. And they like to have their boots licked, and they like to control the narrative. So that's why I do this. Now, I'm doing it 3 days a week, minimum, kind of a labor of love. I'd like to thank some of the great sponsors that have gotten on board. Italian Stardelli is one of them. Carlo Giambattista and the gang there. Just lost his mother. My condolences go out to him. 2 months since my dad's passed away already. Man, time flies. Also want to thank AGT Foods for their continued support, and Paige and Chad up there at the Den Gym. We'll be talking to my son who trains there about the Combine coming up here. Ethan was in the Combine last year, just his thoughts on the whole process and the interview process and everything that goes along with it. That's taking place in Edmonton. But yeah, I do appreciate you checking out this podcast. If you'd like to get on board and sponsor, you could do so by DMing me at any of the social media pages, Ballsy Uncut on X, Instagram, Facebook, Michael Ball on Facebook, and The Real Ballsy on Instagram, or could always reach out to me, 306-526-7979. And we're turning into the warmer weather, better tire kicking season for vehicles, and we're starting our extended hours in March at Crestview Chrysler. You need a new or used vehicle, a new-to-you vehicle, as they like to say. 306-526-7979 is my number. I'll give you they've set me up with ballsy deals there. So I'll give you the ballsy deal when you come in. 306-526-7979. Ballsy pricing, ballsy deals. Come check me out. It's worth your while. And I'm starting to catch on to this game of car sales. I'll tell you what, toughest job I've ever had in my life. Toughest job I've ever had in my life. I'm not going to say it's my most enjoyable job in the sense that I love broadcasting. I love calling football games. I like calling hockey games. By the way, thanks to Steve Huber and 98 CKHD Radio for having me out calling 2 games last week. Assiniboia Southern Rebels Junior B action, and Curtis Nelson out there, the president, joining us on the broadcast. And my friend Tanner Svensson, young and up-and-coming autistic broadcaster, does a great job. I only say autistic because people kind of downplay they put a ceiling up for autistic people. He's a great athlete and a great broadcaster. So really had fun talking to him. And man, his stats, unbelievable. Right in his head. He had the notebook but didn't even use it. Crazy. So yeah, that's my first love, but I'm catching on to this car business, and it's like doing a radio show, me and you at the desk together. So come on in and let's talk about all things sports, whatever else you want to talk about, and then have fun, go out on a test drive and put you in a new vehicle. Our new Rams, 10-year, 160,000 kilometer warranty on the new Rams, 2026 Rams. All right, getting to some sporting topics now. Now I taped the interviews today And with the NFL free agency, it's fluid, so it won't be exactly up to date. But the one we thought was a lock was Max Crosby, and I have Andy McNamara, my betting expert, on here, and that'll be the first interview out of the chute here on Ballsy Uncut. But we were talking about Max Crosby and playing for the Ravens, and Ravens kind of breaking the character of trading some picks for a free agent, but they needed a pass rusher. Haven't had one for a long time, since Terrell Suggs. And they got Crosby, and you look at that division: Crosby, T.J. Watt in Pittsburgh, and then you got Myles Garrett in Cleveland. But today, after I taped the interview with Andy McNamara, it comes down that Max Crosby's failed his physical, so the deal's done, at least done for now. So Crosby goes back to the Raiders, and the Raiders give back the 2 first-round picks to Baltimore. So all's well that doesn't end well? I don't know. We'll see. So very much up in the air. So that'll be a portion of the podcast interview with Andy McNamara coming up that's outdated. Although, who knows, by the time we're done airing it and this airs, maybe it's back on again. It's done for now, though. How about the World Baseball Classic? I haven't watched too much of it, but I really love, and you saw it in the NHL too, with the best on best at the Olympics, although with Russia not there, it's truly not the best on best. But you had the U.S. and Canada meeting, and those guys were going at it like it was Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final, and it meant so much to them. And I'm happy to say that it's the same way in the World Baseball Classic. You see Aaron Judge, who's won a World Series, hit homer after homer in the majors, how happy he was to see the U.S. beat Mexico. And you had, in that game, Randy Arozarena from the Seattle Mariners go to shake the hand or fist bump the catcher of the Team U.S., Cal Raleigh, who's his teammate with Seattle. Raleigh looked at him but wouldn't fist bump him. And then after the game, Arozarena just ripped into him, basically saying he's an ass and a classless move. Come on, man, grow up. So I like it. I like the fact they're at odds. It's the World Baseball Classic. So he didn't fist bump you. Did you see at the Olympics? Kobe Bryant playing in the Olympics tells LeBron James, tells Chris Bosh, tells these guys, very first play, I'm going to run right through Pau Gasol, who was his teammate with the Lakers at the time. And they're like, no, you're not. He goes, no, you watch. Very first play, I'm going to set the tone. We get down there in offense, and I'm going to run right through that motherfucker's chest. And that's exactly what he did, and stepped over him. Basically to say, hey, we're brothers, but we're playing for a gold medal, so we're not brothers here. So that, and they mended their fences. So get over yourself, Arozarena. Come on, man. Quit being soft. Speaking of being soft, this is Charmin soft. This is puppy poo soft. Now, listen, I never played in the NHL, obviously. Never, not saying I can hold the candle to Shea Theodore. Okay, Shea Theodore's a great defenseman. But here's your stat of the day. He is 6'2", 200 pounds. Shea Theodore, defenseman for the Vegas Golden Knights. He has recorded exactly one measly hit in 52 games going into tonight's contest, or tonight's action. One hit! That is paper mache soft. I'm sorry. You in a contact professional hockey game could stumble and trip into 5 hits, incidental 5 hits in 52 games. That's unbelievable. That is super soft. And CFL news, Braylon Addison is retired after 7 seasons in the CFL. The 32-year-old caught 72 passes for 825 yards and 3 touchdowns with Ottawa over 14 regular season games in 2025. He became a free agent last month and went unsigned. A utility knife, too. They got rid of their troubled head case running back who left Ottawa to come to Saskatchewan. Oh, come on. I can't. Listen, I got to use ChatGPT for this. Hold on. I got to use ChatGPT. This is an embarrassment, but I'm not going to go and have you guys all text me and say, Ballsy, it was this guy. So let's ask ChatGPT. Hey, Chat, who was the former Ottawa Red Black running back who was let go and then joined the Saskatchewan Roughriders and rushed for over 200 yards in a game against Calgary a couple seasons back? So let's see who it is. you great fans will know I'm having a brain cramp. Raquel Armstead, that's right. Raquel Armstead was cut by Bob Dice, the nicest guy in the world, because he couldn't get along with Bob Dice. If you can't get along with Bob Dice, you got a problem. So he was let go, and Rock Armstead comes to the Riders, rushes for over 200 yards. But he was such a grease fire in Ottawa that they went into a playoff game against Toronto without a true running back. That's how much they wanted to get rid of Raquel Armstead, who was one of the top 3 running backs in the league when they let him go. And this Braylon Addison, who's a stud receiver, played running back in that game. Crazy, man. Crazy. But he is... He is now retiring from the Canadian Football League. All right. Speaking of the Canadian Football League, we're going to hear from Mike Edem, former defensive back with the Alouettes, BC Lions, and Saskatchewan Roughriders. Coached at the UFC, took some time off, but he's back coaching, joining Eli Buka's Calgary Colts. Buka, his old teammate and old co-coach with the Dinos, taking over as head coach there. Edem joins the staff, and so does Wayne Harris, the longtime coach of the Dinos. He's joined them as a senior consultant. So that's some good news in the PFC for the Calgary Colts. And as I alluded to, we've got Andy McNamara on deck talking about NFL free agency. Thanks for checking out Ballsy Uncut. Athletes aren't built during the season, they're built here in the off-season, where real progress happens. At the Den Sports Performance and Agility Center, they don't just train, they develop. For athletes ages 13 to 17, they offer team packages and individual group training with up to 5 weekly sessions of your choice of dryland or strength-focused work. Every program blends strength, agility, balance, mobility, speed, and recovery with a focus on durability that most programs overlook. Because showing up on game day means staying strong all season. Every session is coached by a certified speed and strength specialist and focused on long-term athletic success, not quick fixes. Flexible programming, real results. The Den Sports Performance and Agility Center is where serious athletes level up. Book your spot now at thedenyqr.ca. One of my favorite people in football, Mike Edem. Hey, so Mike, I like you because you're a straight shooter. Is that your best attribute as a coach, do you think?
It's my dad's best attribute, and it's one that I picked up on growing up. I got a military dad, and he always says it's not my place to spare your feelings. It's my place to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no kidding. Hey, I don't want to get too political, okay? I have my own thoughts on what's going on in the Middle East. What do you think about this, I have a tough time. I support military. I actually just went to a dinner in Regina Evening in Greece, sat at the same table as a military hero. I support military. I don't know if I support just like going off and putting guys in harm's way I'm not sure what the reason is.
Man, it's Tuesday morning at 10:30. You're gonna hit me with a political question. That's
well, you got a military background. That's why I asked you the question, bro.
My dad's got a military background. I definitely don't have a military background. Do I have some kind of military upbringing? Yeah, sure, but
yeah.
Topics like that, I like to stay away from just because everyone's got their own perspective of how they feel about things. And my opinion doesn't really necessarily mean it's the right opinion. So I like to hold on to that. And yeah.
Okay. So what was it like growing up in a military family? Better way to ask that.
The house was ran like a base. You had to be, there's certain rules you couldn't break. Curfew was one thing that was non-negotiable. There was no sleepovers. Sleepovers weren't allowed at a friend's place. Homework, school was a non-negotiable. Making your bed in the morning was definitely something that you could not get away with. No closed doors. You weren't allowed to close the doors in your room, doors wide open, so he can see everything going on and he understands everything going on. I think the best part about it was, although he was tough on us, I think the best part of my dad is his ability to come around and love on you after that, right? And tell you why he was doing things the way he did. And one of the funniest things that he always told me was, it hurts me to discipline you. It hurts me more to discipline you, right? So if you just follow the rules and abide by the things I'm laying out for you, then we ain't got no problems. And early on, I didn't really grasp that grasp that theory. But the older I understood a lot more.
Yeah, well, my son absolutely enjoyed playing for you the brief time he did in Calgary.
Oh yeah,
You stepped away. You stepped away from coaching, but you're back into it now with the Calgary Colts and Eli Buka, who's the head coach. Obviously you guys were together on the Calgary staff
yeah,
from the CFL days.
yeah.
So just tell me how that came to be.
I was home one day. Eli called, painted me a picture. When I assessed everything, I heard him. I heard what he was talking about. I kind of realized I'd be doing more damage than good by saying no. I think the kids at that level, CGFL, will really benefit from my story and having me around, and passing down the knowledge that I've been able to gain over the course of the 10 years playing football and even in college. And when he showed me his vision of what he wants to accomplish, it was a no-brainer than to hop on board and try to help him facilitate that vision, right?
So what, can you give us a little insight? What is that vision with the Calgary Colts? You see, it's funny, in the PFC, it's the Thunder in Regina, it's the Hilltops, and then the third team takes a turn. It's either the Colts one year or the Huskies one year or the Rifles one year.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be that consistent third team. And I've always wondered this, Mike.
Yeah.
We've got a city of Calgary of 1.4 million. And there's only the Dinos. Why can't the Colts always be good? That's something I've had a tough time wrapping my brain around.
I just
you just got there, right?
I just got there, but I think there's too much talent that comes out of Calgary. I think if we can keep some of our home players at home, give them something to look forward to, then I think we can get back there. I think we got to stop other teams from coming in our backyard and handpicking players. So I mean, for us as a staff, I know the one thing we want to do is put out a good product, something the community and the kids can be extremely proud of, and that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. So what is your best attribute as a coach, Mike?
If there's one thing, how to galvanize players, just understanding players, understanding what buttons to push, how to motivate them. I think that's one of the best things Coach Jones was able to do. Blake Nill in college, Noel Thorpe, Orlando Steinhauer. Aside from the X's and O's, and am I leaving anyone out? No, Mark Washington, Jason Shivers. Don't want to leave anybody out, but I think the one of the best attributes about those guys is they were able to galvanize a group of men to go after a common goal, and I think that's one thing. I did well as a player in terms of being able to get my DBs, no matter where you were from, to sit down and have conversations, tough conversations, and be real with one another, and yeah, I think my ability to galvanize a group of men and just paint them a picture that they can believe in, and then we can go out there and do what we need to do.
Hey, I'm proud of you. You're finding life after football. I know you're an entrepreneur with your significant other, but you're getting into studying too, and you want to be a teacher. Tell me about that, because when I texted you for this interview, you said I can't go between 2 and 7.
Yeah,
I got class. I'm like class. What's going? You got a backpack? Like, what's going on, bro?
Sure do. Got a backpack, got a pencil case, and everything. Awesome. One, I've got 2 little boys, Bubs and Easy E. And they're gonna be in the school system here in Alberta. I wasn't raised in Alberta, so it's beneficial that I get to understand the school system and the intricacies of it to help them navigate the school system a little easier. So that was a big motivation. 2, there was a guy that Coach Brent for the Dinos. I sat down, great man. I sat down and talked to him, and he said, Mike, your story, being from Nigeria, where you've come from, the things you've been through. You'd be doing a disservice to the kids in certain communities not to be in the schools teaching, right? I think your story alone can help a kid, can make a difference in a kid's life. So for me, when I heard that, I did overtime football and timeout athletics here in Calgary. So I've always kind of worked with kids. And then I just thought about it, and I pitched the idea to my wife, and she immediately jumped on it and said, I didn't want to tell you what to do, but that was exactly where I saw you. And also the reception I've gotten when I pitched the ideas out to friends and family has just been extremely motivating. So With my wife's support, I decided to jump in and did some upgrades. And after upgrading, I was able to get into my program, and now I'm on the verge of finishing my first year.
Awesome, man. What was the best piece of advice you ever got coming into being a professional football player?
Ooh. I think
Because you've always been good with your money, Mike.
Yeah.
Like you're pretty good with your cash, and we know CFL guys don't make life-changing money.
Yeah.
You've been good with your cash, and you've always been kind of preparing for after football. You even told my son that, hey, this is great, but keep thinking about after football.
Yeah. Hit me with that question again.
I said, what's the best piece of advice you ever got in pro football? Like it doesn't even have to do. It doesn't even have to do with football.
Okay, I'll say this. SJ Green. We were riding around with SJ. I think it was B London and a couple other guys, and we were talking about having kids and stuff like that. And then I remember I told SJ like I can't wait to be a father and have my own kids. And the one thing he looked at me and he was dead, and he was dead serious. He said, "Don't bring a kid home. Don't bring a kid into a broken home. Make sure you have your life situated and everything under control. So when you bring that kid into the home, they have the love for mom and dad and the best opportunity to succeed." And I think that's one advice that stuck to me because he didn't have to say that, and I was such a young guy at the time that I wasn't even in that lane or in that time of my life. But for him to pass that knowledge down, I think it stuck with me. And then met my wife and we got married and did the husband and wife thing, and then we decided after a while that we want to have kids of our own and take our relationship to the next level, and we've done that.
It's awesome. Okay, 2 more quick questions for you. We started by talking about your dad and through the military a question which you dodged, but we talked. That's good. We talked military. It's kind of like being on the field, asking you questions after the game. You dodge them too. That's good. I get it. Hey, so do you like you love your dad? You had a stiff upbringing.
Yeah.
Have you brought some of that into being a parent yourself, or are you a different parent than your dad?
I would say similar to my dad. I think for me, growing up in Canada, I've seen things a little differently, and my perspective has changed on certain things. But I mean, at the end of the day, one thing my dad always talks about is what does a child need? What's best for the child? And that's something me and my wife we take to heart. We try to take ourselves out of parenting equation. Try to take our emotions out of it and really try to think about the kids and what they need in that moment and what's best for them. And honestly, it's I watch my mom and dad show up every day, being parents. When we moved to Canada, my mom worked 2 jobs, 12 sometimes 16-hour shifts to put food on the table, and that just showed me you got to show up every day, no matter what the situation is. And this, life's gonna throw you curveballs. You don't have time to sulk or be down on yourself. You got to pick yourself up because your kids don't care, right? The kids they expect mom and dad every day to wake up and be that same person. So. Yeah.
Hey, 2 more quick ones, but back to football for a second.
Yeah.
Calgary Colts.
Yes, sir.
I like junior football. I played junior football back in the day. Now a lot more kids playing junior go to school too, but it's a working man's league. Like you can work a job and still play. The work ethic thing, kind of like you. And I like the PFC because I think it's cool that guys get to play because game reps are better than kind of practice and being a mannequin on the sidelines. How do you feel about that?
I mean, if you look at my resume, after high school, I was. Can I cuss on this? Can I swear on this?
Yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want.
After high school, I was dog shit. So, so for me, I needed another year of football, and that was CJUP for me. I went to CJUP, and even after CJUP, I still didn't think I was at that level. So. I went to McGill, and the best thing about going to McGill is I got to play early as a young guy, and I think that was extremely beneficial for me. Instead of redshirting, getting those actual live reps was extremely beneficial. And then, putting the tape together, obviously Blake Neal caught Blake Neal's interest, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and lastly, my friend, as you look at things going forward here, you got to be pretty proud. Hey, like your story, Nigerian born, come over here, play at the top level football in Canada. Like you can't get any better than that.
Unfortunately, it does get better. If you look at my older sister and the things she has done, she's the one I'm chasing. She's the anchor in the relay race. Between my siblings and I. She's the first black female neurosurgeon in Canada. The things she's accomplished, our parents usually, basically with our parents, you know who the favorite child is in that moment because of the picture on their phone, right? So we're always in competition to make sure our pictures on that home screen display. So anytime I see my parents, I'll call my mom. I try to ask her, let me see your phone. And then, if I'm not on there, then I got work to do and I got things to do to try to, get back on that screen. So she's always been the anchor. The way she's carried herself, the things she's accomplished. I think one thing she talked about when we first came to Canada, there was one night my parents were both out working and we were talking about Uncle Sam, who was an ambassador. And then my sister looked at my little sister and I said, we have to follow Uncle Sam's footsteps and elevating the name because we were the first family. We were the first family in Canada. And, she's done that with her career. I try to follow suit with my career, but I can guarantee you it's not in the same pedigree as hers. But I still got time. I'm still trying to get there. When I do a master's in education, I didn't think about it at first, but now with her encouragement, she's laying things out for me and kind of showing me a way to do things. And like I said, I followed her in the past, and I believed in everything she just laid out for me. So why stop now? And I feel like if I continue to do that, then I can somehow try to bridge the gap. I don't know if I will, but attempting is.
Can you see that picture, buddy?
Yeah.
So I had to quickly think that I have both kids on my phone, but I do. It's me and my son and my daughter, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers game.
Right.
Hey, I will tell you this as we wrap up. Calgary Colt parents and the kids are going to be happy to have you on staff because I can speak. Like, I'm listening to you talk and make decisions. One of the best decisions we ever made was, he could have played 2 more years at NCAA, and I said, listen, man, you want to go pro, you should probably go with a guy that's been there. And he said, well, who would be the guy, Dad? I said, well, it's got to be Mike Edem. You got to go see Mike Edem. So, no, I was happy that, and I'll give you a ringing endorsement, man. I'm 100% behind you as a coach.
I appreciate, when you guys called and said he was coming, I felt a sense of responsibility not to mess it up because, he's coming from NCAA to Canadian college football. And that's a pretty big responsibility for a coach. You want to show up for the kids and make sure you're getting the best out of them and they're getting the best out of you. But one thing about Ethan, he challenged me as a coach because he was so smart and knowledgeable in terms of the game. He challenged me as a coach, but he made coaching fun. True football player, smart kid, and just a better person.
Yeah, he must like you because he hung up on me to talk to you. He goes, Mike Edem's calling me. I got to talk to him. I got to get on. Okay, yeah, ditch your old man. I don't care. I just paid your bills for the last 15 years. Hey, I'm proud of you, man. Thanks a lot
Appreciate
for taking time out of me. And next time, don't dodge my questions.
Hey, I've been trained right. So excuse my training.
I know. I get it. Talk to you later, buddy. Thanks.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right, Andy McNamara, our betting expert, our NFL guy. Free agent frenzy is well underway. Anything catch you off the get-go other than the fact you stole our right guard from the Chargers, Zion Johnson?
That's right. From us? Well, I was going to say, I was going to ask you about Zion Johnson because I know the Chargers' offensive line was a point of contention with you all year. So I heard good and bad. You heard good against the run. Yeah, so against the pass. But we got a great new offensive line coach. George Warhop, who I think is going to coach him up. And, Ballsy, free agency is all about you're overpaying. And sometimes you overpay for average or above average. Because if you were that good, the team probably wouldn't let you go.
Yeah, 100% right. Interesting, the Tua experiment is done in Miami. He ends up in Atlanta now with Penix Jr. That's an interesting combination.
Lefties. Yeah. Couple lefties, Kevin Stefanski.
Is that one of the first times in NFL history where our starter and our backup are both lefties?
Ooh. Lefties are so rare to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd think. Now, what I hope is that Kevin Stefanski talks to Matt Ryan in Atlanta and says, go give a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick for Dylan Gabriel in Cleveland, who is Stefanski's guy, who's the other lefty, another tiny lefty. Get him out of my hair and ship him to Atlanta. That'd be tremendous, please.
There you go. So a little reclamation project there. And then Malik Willis cashes in Miami from Green Bay. That's an interesting one. I mean, he doesn't have a he doesn't have a big track record, certainly not as a starter, but when he's in, he's effective. But I don't know if he's effective enough to be a top quarterback. But having said that, I don't think they expect to win this year anyway.
Listen, Ballsy, I'll tell you this. I said on my show, The Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara, for weeks, I said, who's the sucker that's going to sign Malik Willis? Who's the chump that's going to pay that guy $30 million for, let's face it, not even a Matt Flynn poof of success smoke. Remember Matt Flynn in the Russell Wilson year, threw for 400-something yards, won the game. People, oh, that's the next guy. Then Russell Wilson beats him out. Malik Willis, Ballsy, this is what drives me insane. This is this guy's call to fame, okay? They're like, oh, he played good when he came in. He played well-ish for one game, and they lost. They lost the game. He played good, and they lost. And then he was in for another half game, and guess what? They lost again. This guy was so bad in Tennessee when they drafted him. Mike Vrabel wouldn't even let him throw the football. I remember his first day, he threw like 0 passes. Now, he improved a bit. Does he have some intangibles? I guess. But he was being touted as like, oh, Lamar Jackson. He's not as fast as Lamar. And you know I don't like Lamar Jackson. Not as good throw of Lamar. You're paying this guy. Why? Why? It is the stupidest signing. And the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill. So I think you're right. They're not expecting to win. Maybe they're like, well, we need somebody. We know it's not Tua. We'll pay this guy. Oh, by the way, the dead cap money for Miami is significant. And maybe they figure they'll bottom out. Tyreek Hill's not there. They'll bottom out and try to draft somebody next year. But anybody, listen to me, listeners, anybody who thinks Malik Willis is going to be a quality starting quarterback based on what is out of their mind. It drives me absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but we'll see if I'm gonna save that clip there and see. We'll revisit it next at the end of the year.
Save it for the end of the year because I'm telling you, I got nothing against the guy. All right, I got nothing against him, but I'm telling you, he stinks. That's what I'm telling you.
Max Crosby with the Ravens. I know you don't like the Ravens, but that's an interesting one right there.
Huge move. Huge move. To me, this is a desperation move by the Ravens, and not necessarily a bad desperation move. They never traded a first-round pick before, and they traded 2 to get Max Crosby. What does that tell us? That tells us the Ravens recognize that their previous statement. Look, Ballsy, they haven't had a pass rusher since Terrell Suggs. That's like 10 years ago. They haven't had it. They used to be built on their defense, right? So now you get Max Crosby, who's a stud in there. You still can, in the later rounds, rebuild a little bit in the draft here and there. And now you are saying, we know that the Lamar Jackson peak, he's at the pinnacle, and I think he's on the way down. We saw him slower last year, more injury prone. They think if we are going to make this thing happen with Lamar, it's got to happen now. And that Max Crosby move is the type of move, that's a win-now move. So I don't like it as a Browns fan, but I don't like it because I think it's going to make the Ravens real good.
I don't think you like it if you're Joe Burrow. You got to go up against T.J. Watt. You got to go up against Myles Garrett, and now you got to go up against Max Crosby 6 times in a year. That guy will be forever on the injury report with Cincinnati's offensive line.
Boy, you better be up in that offensive line. And you know what? The Max Crosby move was so significant. It is a reactionary move for the rest of the division. Now you look. Now the Browns had to, because they had 0 of their starters, which is a fireable offense for a general manager anyway, but 0 starters signed. So now they've acquired your guy, Zion Johnson. Last week, you traded Titus Howard, right tackle from the Texans. They just signed Elgton Jenkins, center from the Packers, and they re-signed Tevin Jenkins, who was on the Browns last year. So you still need a left tackle, but they are rebuilding. You got to pay attention to this because this is a divisional opponent. Like you said, you played twice. That's a move where you're like, all right, we got to pay attention. If you're Joe Burrow and the Bengals, I don't know what your plans are for O-line, but it better be something.
Guy has a great resume, but at this point in his career, he's nothing more than a glorified mall walker. That's Travis Kelce. But apparently he's gonna wear his Kansas City jersey and walk around a field near you because that's what he's back again.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It's the move we expected. If he's not going to retire, he's not going anywhere else, right? He's going to be there. Fantasy football purposes, I'm telling people, do not draft Travis Kelce. We know this is probably his last year, and Ballsy, what do they say? If you think about retirement, you're already retired, right? If you're the Chiefs, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you made a splash by getting Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker in that backfield. Big move.
Is that a good move, though? I
think so. I think it's a good move because if you're the Chiefs, think about it. You don't have to give up any draft capital. You get a stud running back who's 25 years old. Okay? Super Bowl MVP, you got him in there. Now you have a high pick. I believe it's the 10th pick. You're rarely there. So now what you can do if you're Kansas City, you got the backfield. You need another receiver. That wide receiver core still stinks, and Travis Kelce isn't the guy. So now you can use those high picks. It's a nice, there's a few tight ends I like. There's a few tight ends you can grab, potentially, in the draft, and then go get one of those wide receivers. After Cardinal Tate, who I think is the only true WR1 in this draft, Ballsy, you got a nice chunk of solid WR2s. Like, the Chiefs can make hay here, I'm telling you. If you can get, first, second, third round. So if they can get me a wideout that can pop and a tight end that can kind of not have the whole load, but work with Kelce and eventually move on with them, we got to be saying, man, don't count out the Chiefs next year.
How about Alec Pierce getting the money with the Indianapolis Colts? He's a good he is a great deep threat, but that's a lot of cash. They paid a premium to get him.
They sure did, and they made that investment and then shipped off Michael Pittman Jr. to Pittsburgh, right? So they got him out of there to Pittsburgh because you can't pay everybody. Here's what I always look at, Ballsy, when it comes to these type of elevations for a player. Now, I like Alec Pierce, and actually throughout the last half of the year, especially fantasy football-wise, became more of a complete player. But now you were the secondary option. The defense is first. Michael Pittman Jr. was receiving the top cornerback coverage. Now he's gone. Alec Pierce, you get the top cornerback coverage now. That's a difference. That's a big difference. You're the guy. So if I'm Indianapolis, I'm looking to, after him, it's Josh Downs who gets elevated up. Nice player. I feel better having him as my third than my second. So if you're Indianapolis, I'm signing one of the wide receivers I was telling you about. Maybe a Jacoby Lane, 6'4", 215, can jump out of the stadium. You can get a Omar Cooper maybe. Depends. You can finagle that, but if I'm Indianapolis, I want another weapon so that it's not just Alec Pierce and a big drop-off. I need another riser, and if I'm Indy, I'm doing that because that's a lot of money for a guy who's never been the man and is now going to be facing top coverage.
Let's keep with the receiver position. Mike Evans, who's been the man, goes to San Francisco. But and I love Mike Evans. Mike Evans is an all-time Hall of Famer. He's right up there with Jerry Rice, and I really believe that he's a great player. But this is 2026 Mike Evans, not 2020 Mike Evans when they won a Super Bowl. What do you think of that signing by the 49ers?
I think it makes sense, but I'm totally with you. Mike Evans is on, he's seeing the 18th green right now, right? He's not just back 9. He's teeing up on 18. And he's had a lot of injuries. And people say, oh, well, it was only last year. Not really. Because I know, as a fantasy football player, you look, every week, Ballsy, that guy had a Q beside his name for questionable. And then he would play. And there were several weeks where he would have like 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. Weird anomaly. Guy has a nose for the end zone, as we know. But is that sustainable? Not really. So with San Francisco, they got to make that move. I'm surprised they haven't re-signed Juwan Jennings yet. Maybe he's playing hardball. But this is a win-now move. So I like it, but you don't have George Kittle because of his injury. If you're San Francisco, this has to be just a part of it. This isn't the answer. This is a nice complementary piece, and Mike Evans can get the job done in the end zone. But this is not some burner who's going to be going up and doing what you got to pick your spots with him now. So valuable, but you got to do more.
Well, you talked about it early, overpaying in free agency. I mean, he's a good player, but I don't know. Is he that good? Romeo Doubs going to the Patriots for that kind of money? I don't know about that. When I watch Packer games, he either gets hurt at an inopportune time or he doesn't show up. Like he'll drop a ball when they need a big catch or something like that. To me, that's not a big time player in my opinion.
And right now he's being looked at because with Stephon Diggs' departure as the WR1. Yeah. And I like Dobbs the player. I think there's certainly potential for him to elevate to be that WR1. The problem in Green Bay was a good problem to have for them. They had a lot of young receivers kind of rising at the same time, but they all seem to get injured. So you never got any flow. It was the quarterback. It was the receivers in and out. So we saw flashes, but we don't know. It's a price to pay. It's an expensive price to pay if you're the Patriots. I would think if you're New England, again, I'm going to go to that same strategy I said with Kansas City and with the Colts. There are Ballsy. I got a list of these guys right here of wide receivers that I can run through. And my combine crush, by the way, Jacoby Lane, the other USC, not Mekhi Lemon. Jacoby Lane is the man, and whoever gets him is going to have a heck of a value. But you can go through guys like Malachi Fields of Notre Dame, 6'4". The guy's a beast. Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston we talked about. Even a guy, Colby Young, very low production but high ceiling, 6'3", 215, out of Georgia. You got to get somebody else to help him be along the way, because that Patriots offense is still very sluggish. The backfield's good, but you can't go in and say, hey, we're going to get back to the Super Bowl and lean on Romeo Doubs. Come on.
Yeah, the Chargers got Jim Harbaugh. They haven't won a playoff game, made it back-to-back years, been disappointing both playoffs. Yes, they lost Zion Johnson to your team. They did get that center out of Washington. I forget how you pronounce his name, Bladius or something. He apparently it's a good signing. But you got Justin Herbert, you got a Ferrari, and to me, who do you got around him that's going to be a game breaker? Like, I'm hoping then if they didn't address that, they had the second most money in free agency going in. I'm hoping that there's not a lot of free agents to sign wide receiver wise, so I hope they dip in on the draft here and Ortiz goes after some receivers.
Yeah, you know what, and that I don't hate that strategy if that's what they do, because you're right, the wide receiver is available, and let's not forget there's always trade, right? A.J. Brown being tossed around, it depends if you feel you can. I think Harbaugh's a strong enough culture guy that you can deal with the diva-ship of him. I wouldn't hate that.
Is he still a top 5 receiver in the NFL, even by fantasy numbers, A.J. Brown? Yeah?
I think he can be. Yeah, I certainly do. I think the talent is still there. I haven't seen any decline. So it depends. If you're the Chargers, who do you like? Who's a game breaker, right? What are you looking for? You looking for big, tall guy? You looking for slot guy? You looking for both? Because, like I said, there is depth here, man. There is depth. There's the Indiana receiver who got 15 touchdowns, who nobody's talking about except for me, Elijah Sarrett, okay?
Yeah.
That guy, Omar Cooper Jr., his teammate, is being hyped up and popped up. 6 foot. He's good, but seems kind of ordinary. This Elijah guy, look, you can't teach 15 touchdowns. Come on. Like, there's an end zone nose there. But if you're the Chargers, you got to then be hitting, and maybe it's a couple. But I wouldn't shy away either from investigating with the Philadelphia Eagles. What's it take? Do I got to give a 1-up for it? I don't know if I like that. If I get him for a 2 and some, then you talk. Maybe the Eagles are holding out for too much. I don't know.
Interesting. So do you think Mendoza is a true franchise quarterback? The Raiders signed the Ravens center Linderbaum away from Baltimore. Yeah. And do you see Mendoza as that guy? He's kind of, like, I think we talked before. He's a little bit of a weirdo. He's kind of quirky. Like, he's Andrew Luckish, but even more Andrew Luckish, if that makes sense. Like, but it doesn't seem like a great fit in Vegas, but then maybe it's the perfect fit in Vegas because he's too nerdy to really get wrapped up on the strip, hopefully.
That's right. Hopefully he is, man, that guy just loves life. And in all the best ways. He's polite, he's passionate, leader of men, guys run through walls for him, and most importantly, he's got all the elite size. This is what you got to see, Ballsy. That's why like a Ty Simpson does nothing for me. What's Ty Simpson out of Alabama's elite trait? He's not the tallest, he's not the fastest, he's not the strongest, doesn't have the best arm, doesn't have the best accuracy. So he's okay. What does Mendoza have? He has elite size. He has elite arm power. He has the ability to turn it over, instantly forget, he's back at it. Dude's fearless. Oh, by the way, and he's mobile. This guy has a mix to me of Drake May and Justin Herbert. That's kind of, I'm hearing Kirk Cousins comparisons too. I think he could do the play action. I think he's as a more of an upside than Kirk Cousins, but I get it. I just love his mobility. I love every single thing about the kid. And I'm so glad that the Raiders did go and get Linderbaum, but that's got to be the start. That's not the end. So you got him. Yeah. You're Vegas. You need another tackle. You need another. Like, you got to keep working this thing to keep adding on because you want to make sure you protect him. And if you do, then you give him time to distribute the ball to Brock Bowers, who we know is a stud. And hallelujah, can Ashton Genty get a yard before he's dumped back 5? Please, right?
Okay.
It's wild. So, and the thing is too with Vegas. You still need receivers.
Yeah, there are ways away yet. But
most of all, I want a protective offensive line for Fernando Mendoza. I've loved this guy since week 2 of the college football season. And I've been talking him up ever since. I think he is the real deal. But as we know, Ballsy, it depends so much on situation and landing spot. And that's the first step to get there. How about real quick, Geno Smith going home to New York with the Jets?
Yeah, that's
Weird.
an interesting one. I guess you can go home again. And the other one I was going to mention is so this is maybe why the Chiefs are always in the mix, whether we like them or not. And I hate the Chiefs because they're in my team's division. But like they ditch McDuffie, and he goes to the Rams, and the Rams give him the richest contract for a DB in the history of football. And who's the guy they had from Jacksonville that was on the corner? Jalen, the dude that went from Jacksonville that was the great corner and went from Jacksonville to the Rams. Yeah, Jalen Ramsey. They had Ramsey before at the Rams. And he had a lot of money, but now McDuffie goes there and he's the highest paid. What do you make of that from the Kansas City side? And what do you make of that from the Rams side? What they gave up and what they spent on him?
Well, I think for Kansas City, again, it goes back to if you have Patrick Mahomes ready to go, you're always going to be in contention. So what the Chiefs have said is, okay, we had a down year. We're not going to get a chance to pick this high again. So now you got 10, and the Rams pick, which is 20-something, whatever it was. So that's where you can double dip, right?
Yep.
You can go defense, you can go all over, but you can get your offensive, you can get a wide receiver at that, you can get later, you can get one of the great defenders. I think it's a great move for Kansas City because you can, as good as McDuffie is, you can draft and develop somebody else, right? And for the Rams, that again is another team. You invest that's saying, we want to squeeze one more run out of Matthew Stafford. They were close last year, and that NFC West is that is tough. Look, the Seahawks, great story, but you're a half game, couple decisions away from it being totally reversed, and the Rams getting it done. So I think this is a move by LA to say we're still here and we're going to be making some noise. And you know what? You take that late round first pick. We'll take McDuffie and keep going.
Andy, maybe we'll see you around the draft and chat then, okay?
Ooh, yes, please. Anytime draft talk, man. Ballsy, I got notes dating back to 2020 with this combine stuff. I'm ready, baby.
Look at you. And where do they find your work, bro?
Oh, you can get me at the Sporting News. I'm all over the place there, covering free agency, the draft, all that. Get all the links on X at AndyMC81 and at SickPodBrowns, Instagram at AndyMCSports, and subscribe and follow and like on YouTube, The Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara.
Thanks, Andy.
All right, buddy.